few years ago, I went through the hardest time of my life. I had just gotten into a relationship, and I thought that it was the one thing I was searching for the longest time. It felt like the one thing that I cared about most my entire life. Going all the way back to elementary school, every guy thinks about when they're going to get their first girlfriend. It's like one of the main things that goes through your head until it actually happens. So, leading up to the time when I was so young, I would have crushes and girls that I used to talk to, but it never went anywhere. It felt like I didn't care when deep down I knew that I did, but I tried to convince myself that I didn't. My friends would ask me all the time, like, what am I doing? Like, am I talking to girls? They would joke with me all the time about it, because once you get to that certain age, like middle school, like 7th grade, whatever, that's when everything starts going crazy. Like, guys are doing crazy things with girls you would never expect, and you're hearing about all of it. You can't escape it. But that also means that they are going to be trying to convince you to do the same things or think the same way. So, around that time in middle school, when I saw all of my friends with girlfriends, like, it was like one after the other, like a domino effect. It was just starting off with one of my friends getting a girlfriend, and then the next one, and then the next one, and the next thing I knew, after a few months of 7th grade, pretty much every friend that I had a girlfriend, and they would talk about it all the time. And I guess it's because it was something new in our lives. Like, we all had the same things going on our entire lives. It was either playing outside, which was the first thing, then playing sports, whatever that was, and then eventually playing games with each other, like Xbox, PC, whatever it was, like Fortnite. That's what it had became. So now the next chapter of life was having a girlfriend. And that was the only one where it's actually not easy to go to, because it's very easy to go from playing a sport to playing a video game or the next thing. But that just wasn't a thing for me, at least. Until eventually, years went on, and in high school, I mustered up the courage to ask out this girl. Now, when I did it, I thought it was going to go well, because I thought for sure this girl really liked me. And in fact, she actually did like me, but for some reason, she still said no. And this destroyed me so bad. This like ruined my headspace so bad. I literally went to the gym, and every guy knows this feeling. You go to the gym, you start working out, and there's nothing else you want to do. You just want to get your mind off of that. And that's kind of the mental state that I was in. So I was focusing on working out and, I guess, sticking to myself, even though that's not what I wanted to do. Because every guy talks about focusing on yourself, but like, no, I don't want to focus on myself. I want to have a girlfriend, because all of my friends do. So this went on for a while, and I decided this was it. I wanted more. I was so sick and tired of being the only guy that didn't have a girlfriend. So I waited, but I waited just enough time. Now, when I say I waited just enough time, that doesn't mean that I intentionally waited. I just literally had no chances with girls. Like, for some reason, anytime I ever thought I would get too close to a girl to where I would ask them out, I would just completely mess it up. Or I would just not care anymore, which was just really weird how that all worked. But I waited and waited until eventually I got in, like, about halfway through high school. And then I saw this girl who I thought was like the most attractive girl, and I realized I wasn't going to make the same mistake, because I was a slow learner. I was somebody who I had to get like hit upside the head multiple times to be like, oh, this isn't good. When I would talk to girls, I think my biggest issue is that it was so friendly every time. Like, instantly, when I would talk to any girl, it would always start off in like this friendly way. And I just should have known that that wasn't a good thing. And this happened so many times. I would say like 4 or 5 different times this happened. And then I was like, wait, I just need to not be friendly at the very beginning. So I was like, okay, I can do that. So halfway through high school, I meet this girl, and I was like, I'm just like instantly going to ask her out, because if I do, I don't really even barely know her. So like, what's the problem? I can just ask her out anyway. So if she says no, it's like not that bad, because I barely even know this girl. I'm not even friends with her. So I'm not losing a friend, and there's only like up to go, if that makes sense. So I decided I'm going to ask her out. And then I made some excuse to go talk to her. I don't even know what it was. And then instantly when I go and I talk to her, it was like probably the 3rd time I like asked her to hang out. I just did it like over text. The first time I talked to her, I ended up like getting her contact, which I had never done before. And then the second or third time I was like, we should hang out. And it completely worked. So I was like, I've been overthinking it this entire time. But now I got the one thing that I had been waiting for this entire time. And it was a really unfamiliar situation because all of my friends and everyone that I knew had already gone through this. And I was like the only one who hadn't gone through this, having a girlfriend or whatever. So now it was just like a really weird situation of like, what do I do now? And during that time, I'm just thinking in my head, like how am I supposed to do certain things? Like, should I say certain things? Should I not say certain things? And I overthought, is that even a word? I overthought so hard and I could not stop thinking. Like, words cannot explain how much was going through my head. It was literally just nonstop. Like, should I say this? Should I say that? Should I do this move? Should I not do that? And eventually I adapted to the situation. I was like, okay, I don't have to put too much thought into this. I just need to go with the flow. And that's what I started doing. And this is where it all went south. When I started going with the flow, I genuinely like fell in love like crazy. And I'd never felt this before because any other time, even the girls that I kind of liked that I didn't like ask out or whatever, like I was never in love, and I thought I was because that one girl that like rejected me, I thought I was like in love with her, but I definitely was not in love with her. But after falling in love with this girl, that's not what I expected at all. It was not like at all what I thought it was going to be. See, I hate to use a bad example, but when somebody gets addicted to anything like a drug or just anything like that, like it's a different feeling than just wanting to do something. See, like right now I could want to go and take a walk right now, but I'm not like addicted to walking. But if I go eat like some chocolate right now and I get addicted to sugar, I'm going to keep wanting sugar, and it's going to like, I'll feel like an itch for it. When you fall in love, it's almost like that. Like you literally have like a craving for it. And the issue is that you become so attached. And the reason I feel like people say the word attached is because it literally feels like you grab something and then your hand is frozen to it. You're like stuck, like you're like attached. And that's what it was. Like I was like very, very attached. So much so because it was the next chapter of my life. I had finally graduated the video game stage. You know, I was good at Fortnite. Don't get me wrong. I was like insane at Fortnite. But it was time to move past Fortnite. You know what I mean? So now I moved past it and I'm with her, and all of the things that we went through like turned me into this person who I wasn't. Like it can completely change who I was because of how much different it made me and how much I learned going through this process. And every time that we hung out, I would have like crazy emotions of like love, I guess is what you can say. Like I literally felt like this attachment, like the thing about the hand holding something, it felt stronger and stronger every time. So eventually this thing is never getting let go. And this was bad for a few reasons for me. Number one is that I was in high school. Little did I know, relationships don't last forever every time. And a lot of us think they do. I mean, I definitely thought that I was going to get married to this girl. I mean, in the back of my head, I was like, this probably wouldn't happen. But for some reason, I was so naive and I thought like, yeah, this is going to happen. Like, I'm going to get married to this girl. Like, she's really attractive. Like, it worked out the first time. It was too perfect. But this is where it became an issue. Like, a really big issue is my attachment started getting in the way of me. So I had things that were good about me in my life. Things that I had did, like hobbies, like making content on TikTok, going to the gym and all this. But now I started disrupting those things to be with her. So if I had to go to the gym, but she asked me to come over, I would say, oh, screw that. I'm just going to go over to her place. If I had to go and make videos, but I knew that she wanted me to come over, I'd just be like, hey, can I come over? Or something like that. Like it started getting in the way of all of the things that I had going for me in my life. Now, there's a really important lesson that I learned about this that I'll get to in a second. But over time, I let go of all of the things that made me valuable. I didn't completely let go of them, but I stopped going to the gym as much. I stopped caring about myself as much. I stopped having the hobbies. I stopped doing the things that made me attractive in the first place. And this ruined everything. And recently, something that I really relate to is I started reading this book about business called $100 Million Leads. And it sounds insane because it sounds like it's not related. It is. In this book, it talks about in business, if you provide something very valuable, then you attract things. It's called a lead magnet. A lead is just, picture it like a person. You attract people when you become attractive. That's why it's called being attractive. That's why you can have a lead magnet. A lead magnet as a person is just being a person who is attractive. Attractive people attract people. It's that simple. The issue is that once you attract somebody, you can't stop doing the things that make you attractive. And that's what I did. So eventually, as time went on, we ended up breaking up. And I should have seen this coming, and I hope that any of you watching this do. This completely ruined me. It was the worst feeling I could have ever felt. I remember waking up every day just feeling like literally like heartbroken. Like my heart hurt. Yes, that was one thing. My stomach hurt. And I don't know how many of you guys know this feeling of like literally feeling sick to your stomach. I woke up sick to my stomach every morning because it's almost like the attachment, the thing that I keep talking about, like the holding on. It's like this was peeled out of my hands and my hands are left molded like this. So now I'm a different person, and the thing that made me a different person is gone now. And as soon as that happens, you don't feel the same. You are literally a new person, because when you have that close of a connection with somebody, you will never be the same. And I don't care what anybody says, especially if it's your first love. So after breaking up and feeling sick every single morning, like literally borderline, like I remember waking up shaking all the time. As time passed, I eventually started doing the things that made me attractive in the first place, which was working on myself, making content, doing whatever I did before I knew her. And it took so much time, and time was the only thing that can make any difference, because I still thought about her for months and months after we broke up and after everything happened. The reason I thought about her is because, like I said, the mold is still there. This mold will never be gone. You can try to straighten your hand out and try to become the person you used to be. That will never happen. You will always have some amount of this person engraved into you. That's just true, in my opinion. And that's what happened to me. But I didn't realize that. But yeah, over time, I was getting more and more back to normal. And I realized that I had got what I wanted. The one thing that I had been searching for my entire life was getting a girlfriend, and I had finally got it. But then I lost it just like that. And now I'm back to this person that I used to be, except now I have a lesson learned. And the most important lesson of all of this, in my opinion, is that anything that you do that you really want, anything that you really want, is not going to be something that just comes into your life and will always stay there. You have to work to keep that thing with you, whatever it is. If you go to the gym, you build a great body, you get a big chest, you get abs, you get shredded. That doesn't just stay once you have it. You have to continuously work on it. And my number one mistake, my number one issue, is that once I got a girlfriend, I stopped working on the one thing that got me that girlfriend, which was myself. So to make a long story short, become attractive by working on yourself, even after you get a girlfriend. And if you're going through a heartbreak, the answer is pretty clear. Go back to working on yourself. That's it.